In West Germany in the late 20th century, a young woman's life became entangled in a gruesome series of disturbing events. She endured 67 exorcisms over a period of 10 months in order to liberate herself from what she thought to be a demonic possession. The consequences of these rituals were tragic, resulting in the criminal prosecution of both of her parents and the two priests who performed the rituals. Hello and welcome back to TTHL. Today, we explore the terrifying tale of Anneliese Michel. Anneliese Michel, born September 21, 1952, was raised by her parents, Joseph and Anna Michel, in a devout Christian home, along with her three sisters. Anneliese, known affectionately as Anneliese to her loved ones, was a very bright and lively child. As she entered her teenage years, something within her changed. By the age of 16, she had suffered a severe seizure, leading to a diagnosis of temporal lobe epilepsy. Soon after, Anneliese was diagnosed with depression. As the severity of her depression increased, Anneliese sought treatment at a mental health facility. At the age of 17, during her stay at the hospital, her condition deteriorated. She experienced an additional seizure and her depression did not improve. She was prescribed antidepressants and anticonvulsive drugs, including Dilantin, for the first time. However, the medication proved ineffective in relieving any of her conditions. During this period, Anneliese also reported seeing what she referred to as devil faces throughout the day. Consequently, she was prescribed chlorpromazine, a medication commonly used to treat various psychoses, including schizophrenia. At the age of 20, Anneliese's mental health took a troubling turn. She started battling hallucinations during prayer and hearing distressing voices proclaiming damnation and what she described as a fate of rotting in hell. Despite her time in a mental health facility, there was no improvement, and her depression even deepened. Even extended treatment failed to yield positive results. And after 5 long years of relying on medications and therapy, she grew increasingly frustrated with her medical care. Additionally, Anneliese developed an aversion to Christian sacred places and objects, including the crucifix. Anneliese's physical condition deteriorated as she exhibited signs of aggression, self-inflicted injuries, and unusual behavior. At the age of 21, she initiated treatment with Tegretol, a medication known for its dual role as an anti-seizure drug and mood stabilizer, commonly used for bipolar disorder. Desperate to help their daughter, Anneliese's parents, Joseph and Anna, turned to more familiar religious interventions. Anneliese's struggles began to be seen through deeply religious lenses. Her devout Christian family and her community at this point were convinced that she was under the influence of demonic forces. This conviction marked a significant shift in their understanding of her condition, leading them to explore alternative spiritual avenues in search for a cure. Consequently, Anneliese's family sought an exorcism from the Catholic Church, which was initially rejected. However, a local priest, Father Ernst Alt, did not agree with the notion that Anneliese suffered from epilepsy, saying that she did not exhibit the characteristic symptoms or seizures. Father Alt, convinced of demonic possession, urged the local bishop to authorize an exorcism. In an emotional letter to Father Alt in 1975, Anneliese, now 23, expressed her feelings of insignificance and a desire for improvement, pleading for his prayers. On one occasion, she wrote, "I want to suffer for other people, but this is so cruel." In September 1975, Bishop Joseph Stangl permitted Father Arnold Rentz to conduct an exorcism with strict instructions for absolute secrecy. On September 24th, Father Arnold Rentz initiated the first exorcism session. These rituals proved to be physically and emotionally demanding, with Anneliese actively participating. As the sessions progressed, Anneliese's focus was on what she believed to be dying to atone for the wayward youth of the day and the apostate or reunification of priests of the modern church. At Anneliese's request, her parents ceased consulting medical professionals and exclusively depended on the exorcism rituals. Between the end of 1975 and the early months of 1976, a total of 67 exorcisms took place, usually 1 or 2 per week, each lasting up to 4 hours. Towards the latter part of the exorcism sessions in 1976, Anneliese began refusing to eat any food, and on July 1, 1976, at the age of 23, Anneliese Michel passed away in her home. The autopsy report attributed her cause of death to malnutrition and dehydration, consequences of nearly a year spent in a state of near starvation during the ongoing exorcism rituals. At the time of her death, she weighed only 66 pounds, had broken knees from continuous kneeling, a common practice in Christian worship, was unable to move without assistance, and had reportedly contracted pneumonia. Following an investigation, the state prosecutor asserted that Anneliese Michel's death could have been prevented, with potential intervention deemed possible as late as 1 week before her passing. In 1976, Anneliese's parents, along with priests Ernst Alt and Arnold Rentz, were formally charged with negligent homicide by the state. The state's recommendation included no imprisonment for any of the involved parties. Instead, the suggested penalty for the priest was a fine. In addition, the prosecution concluded that the parents should be exempt from punishment, saying that they had suffered enough. The trial that ensued began on March 30, 1978, attracting considerable attention. On behalf of the state, medical experts testified that Anneliese was not possessed, attributing her manifestations of demonic possession to psychological effects stemming from her strict religious upbringing and epilepsy. The defense contended that the exorcism was lawful, citing the protection of citizens' unrestricted exercise of religious beliefs under the German Constitution. As part of their argument, the defense played recorded tapes from the exorcism sessions, featuring what they claimed were demons arguing, to support their assertion that Anneliese was indeed possessed. The priest maintained that the demons identified themselves by such names as Lucifer, Cain, Judas, Legion, Hitler, and Nero, among others. They further asserted that Anneliese was ultimately liberated from the demonic possessions through the exorcism just before her death. Bishop Stangl, who had sanctioned the exorcism, stated that he had been unaware of Elisa's deteriorating health when approving the exorcism and did not provide testimony during the court proceedings. In April of 1978, both of Anneliese's parents, Joseph and Anna Michel, along with the 2 priests, were convicted of negligent homicide. However, their prison sentences were suspended, and they were collectively instructed to cover the expenses of the legal proceedings. These sentences were thought to be more severe than the state's recommendations, which sought only small fines for the priests and a guilty verdict for the parents without punishment. Needless to say, the Church's approval of the ancient exorcism rite garnered significant public and media attention. In a subsequent conference several years later, German bishops retracted the assertion that Anneliese was possessed. Following the trial, Anneliese's parents sought permission from authorities to exhume their daughter's remains due to concerns about the hurried and inexpensive burial. Almost 2 years after her initial internment, on February 25, 1978, Anneliese's remains were reinterred in a new oak coffin lined with tin. At this time, Anneliese would have been 25 years old. Official reports surprisingly revealed that her body exhibited no signs of the typical decay expected over a 1 year and 7-month period. Access to Anneliese's remains was restricted, with both the family and the priest discouraged from seeing them. Anneliese's gravesite continues to be a pilgrimage destination cherished by small groups of Catholics who believe that she successfully atoned for wayward priests and sinful youth. On June 6, 2013, 37 years following Anneliese's death, a fire consumed the house that had once been the residence of Anneliese and her family. While local law enforcement concluded that the fire resulted from arson, certain members of the community linked it to the historical case of Anna Elizabeth, or the exorcism of Anneliese Michel. Anneliese Michel's tragic story raised questions about the intersection of faith, mental health, and the consequences of extreme beliefs. Her case also sparked debates about the balance between religious convictions and medical interventions. The legacy of Anneliese Michel serves as a reminder of the complexities surrounding mental health and the importance of seeking appropriate and compassionate care. And that's all for now. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And let us know if there are any stories that you would like us to cover in the future. Until next time, thank you for watching.